Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my very, very cold dungeon here in the back of my home. Uh, I haven't been this excited to speak to you ever, I think, because we're ready to move. We're ready to move. I've connected with some very active parents in the school districts, in LAUSD to be exact, and they like my ideas. They're ready to run with them. And so we're going to start taking some action and just reaching out to the community and spreading the word and letting them know this is our new model for public education. And so more to come on that. But to kick off that initiative, I wanted to share with you what some of those ideas are as well, and hopefully get some feedback from you. But the name of the blog article that I'm going to be sharing to sort of start the dialogue is entitled What Makes a School Effective? Okay. And right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide myself so that you can see nothing but pure, uh, nothing but pure article. Okay. Or maybe so that I can see nothing but pure article. And so before we get into talking about what makes schools effective, we need to talk about what people think makes schools ineffective because that's how we operate. We look for a problem and we offer a solution. Everybody's already assumed and concluded that schools have problems, right? So we don't need to go through that. But let me tell you what I say here. And the reason I'm writing this is because I can already see if this were to ever gain enough attention to get the attention of the experts, then they're going to have all kinds of holes to poke in them. I'll poke the holes there for myself. Okay. But for starters, to know what experts say makes a school effective would take a lifetime because what nowadays, everybody's an entrepreneur, including those in our research institutions. And so to make a big buck, they need to distinguish themselves from everybody else. And so what you're going to get is a whole lot of the same thing, just packaged in a different type of packaging. And so let's not start there. Let's start with what everybody agrees on in the expert community, which is what makes schools ineffective. And this is what they say. And you can figure this out by just looking. You don't need to be a hard scientist. Just look around. Look at what every school plan says, what every school plan identifies as the root cause of the problems, uh, and listen to what people say, just even on TV, what the celebrities say, right? And what the celebrities say, what the experts say, what the politicians say, it all has to do with money. They're all entrepreneurs. Okay, so it says, and this is what they say: they say the public schools are underfunded, and schools in poorer communities receive less money than those in more affluent communities. They say that schools are overpopulated by poor students who are victims of the ills of society, equal to those of children in the third world nations, right? The poor kids. I'm gonna tell you something. When I hear people talk about poor children and their plight and what they need and what they have to do, I grew up pretty poor, so I'm like, I never felt that way. I mean, I wanted to get out. It sucked, but you know what I've learned in my studies and my 48 years of life? Life seems to suck for everybody. All right, so let's not over exaggerate what just is what it is. Okay. Next, they say that public schools need teachers that understand this alien Martian-like experience, this culture and this culture, of children that are so different from their own, that they need to be trained on how to communicate with them, how to listen to them, how to understand their plight. Going back to point number two, everybody goes through crap throughout life. Rich, poor, middle, uh, just some of us hide it differently. Some of us hide it better. But stop telling people you just don't understand these kids and you're not listening. Maybe the person, the individual is a jerk, but you don't need to put a whole bunch of teachers into a room to tell them that they don't get the kids. All right. So dumb. These schools are populated by adults handicapped by the retardation and trauma poor students come to school with. All right, going back, point number one. We've got to this point where we've micromanaged every aspect of a kid's psyche and believe that we're going to go through 1 or 2 hours of training and know how to get through all that. Where if we just treated everybody with dignity and chose to be excellent at what we did, there'd be no problems. Okay, let's see. These schools simply need to provide the following conditions to improve the learning opportunities for the students, and they're done. Let me tell you that. And I'll talk about it later. They simply need to provide access to a rigorous college prep course load for 100% of the students, right? So everybody has access to college prep courses. They need a fully credentialed faculty where each teacher is specialized in what the subject they teach, that they need more college and academic counselors than they presently have. Whatever it is, we need more. We need more support staff. They need more support staff than they presently have, with no specifics. Smaller class sizes. So lower, that's that whole class size reduction project. Oh yeah, here's a good one. All you need to do is put the word STEM, magnet, or learning community at the end of the school's name. That's gonna make them better. We need better paid teachers. Listen to what I'm saying. Not that teachers don't need to get paid better, but that we need better paid teachers to make the school better. And then finally, an organizational structure that takes these big schools and breaks them into smaller academies. We call them small learning communities, professional learning communities, and that's going to change the paradigm. Okay, that's what they say. That's what the experts say makes schools ineffective when they're too big, have too many poor kids, and that's what it boils down to. That's what they're saying. We have too many poor kids in our schools, and that's why this is as good as we can do. Okay, and so the answers, the solutions to those problems are responses to this. And since nobody's willing to just give these kids enough money to get out of poverty, then they give it to themselves. Alrighty, so that's what's to come. I ran a whole analysis on answering and debunking these particular myths about what our public schools need. And then I get into talking about what's really going to make our schools effective for the 21st century. Alrighty, look forward to sharing more with you, and I'll be in touch. Goodbye.